What's good, YouTube? It's your girl E Smith. I'm back with another video. Shout out to my Mellow clan. Thank you guys for coming back. I love y'all. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to Mellowtalk. This is a safe space I created for us to come and discuss various viewpoints, opinions, and perspectives regarding true crime stories as well as trending topics. Now I want to thank you all for being here. Because fact of the matter is, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here chopping it up with me, and I'm digging that. So look, go ahead and take this time to give this video a thumbs up. Like this video, guys. I'm still trying to get to my first 1K subscribers. We on the road to 1K, trying to grow my Mellow clan family. You feel me? We moving on up. Subscribe, hit the bell, so that way when I drop new content, you'll be the first to get it. Now there's only one rule to the channel, and that rule is, as we discuss our different viewpoints and opinions, that we do it with respect, okay? I don't want my platform to be one that we come to spew hate to one another, all right? This is a no hate zone. Now before we get into today's story, I do want to let you know that everything that I post on this channel, it is for educational purposes only, okay? I do research on my own online. I read articles, I read documents, court proceedings, etc. And I compile it in a video for entertainment for you guys, alright? This story does have elements of child abuse and torture, okay? If things like this trigger you in a negative way, I want to advise you to sit this one out in hopes that my next video will be one that you can enjoy to the fullest. Now let's get into today's story. Everyone was envious of them. They were the perfect people with the perfect kids. This was said by a friend of the Hart family, who we'll talk about today, and we have a lot to unpack. This is a crazy story, guys. If I could say anything about this family, they are the epitome of the fact that what you see on social media is not real life. What's on social media is what they want you to see, but not what's really going on. Sarah Gangler and Jennifer Hart both grew up individually in separate parts of South Dakota. They met and they started dating while attending Northwestern University, as they were both attending school studying elementary education. Sarah graduated as a special education teacher, while Jennifer did not finish and she ended up quitting school. Okay, now the character of these women, Sarah was always described by people that knew her as quiet, reserved, passive, sensitive, where you have Jen or Jennifer Hart, who is described as likes to be in control, big personality, doesn't mind letting her voice be heard. Total opposite of Sarah. For years, they were quiet about their relationship, telling family and friends that they were roommates and just best friends. Sometime later, they finally decided to go ahead and come out as a lesbian couple. And according to Jennifer, they lost friends, and where they were was not accepting to that at all. So that resulted in them in 2004 moving to Minnesota. When they moved to Minnesota, they both worked retail jobs together. They bought a house, and then they took in a foster child, a 15-year-old teenage girl by the name of Lee. Co-workers were able to say that they openly complained about the foster child, stating that Lee would eat out of the trash or saying things like, "Ugh, she's the worst." Sarah and Jen had a conversation with Lee. They were so excited, letting her know that she would get to be a big sister soon because they planned on adopting children. They actually went and saw these children. They were in the Texas foster system. They got pictures and everything. They came back. They showed Lee the pictures. Had her really excited about being a big sister, until about a week before the kids were to arrive, Lee had a therapist appointment. They dropped her off and never came back for her. The therapist already knew that she would not be going back with them. The therapist let her know she would be going to a new home. And when she got to the new home, her things were already there. This was already planned. And with Lee being a foster child already, I can just imagine how that must have made her feel for the people who I now know as my parents to just drop me off and leave me and never speak to me again. It was said that they made the comment that not only does she eat out of the trash, but she's also suicidal, and that they don't want that negative energy around the new children. So in 2005, Sara changes her last name to Hart, okay? And in 2006, they took in 3 children who were siblings, okay? We have Marquise, who at the time is 7 years old. We have Hannah, who at the time is 4 years old. And we have Abigail, who at the time is 2 years old. Now, after taking in these children, from what I understand, I actually watched Christina Randall's channel. She has a really dope channel with a lot of good information, so I'll put the link down below if you guys want to check out her video as well. But I couldn't find anything on it, but I heard from Christina Randall's channel that the Harts took to Facebook to explain how the first night went with the children, okay? And they said some things like feces being smeared, somebody saying they were possessed with demons, and just a lot of crazy stuff, which is just like, why would you say that? Like, I could understand you getting on and saying, woo, a rough first night with the adopted children, something like that, but not to just get on there and just straight up embarrass them. I mean, besides, they are foster children. We don't know the traumas that they come from. They could have any types of, traumas or issues that they're dealing with, so, I mean, for a foster child to act out or do some things that may be out of the ordinary is pretty normal, right? Especially for children that age. Now, 2 years later, they take in 3 more children who are siblings. So they have 2 sets of 3 children who are all brother and sister. Now, these children were taken from their mother due to substance abuse. And what was so crazy about these siblings, they're Devontae, who was 5, Jeremiah, who was 4, and Sierra, who was 3. And the thing about them is that they had family that wanted them. They had an aunt who fought tooth and nail to have them, okay? And she was a good woman. She made an honest living. She lived a good life, and she was fit to take care of them. And one day, she had to work an extra shift because they actually did go and live with her. But this one day that she had to work an extra shift, she had to leave. And so to not leave them there by themselves, she called the biological mother there to watch them. A caseworker happens to pop up on them that day. The aunt is not home and the biological mother is alone with them, which of course that cannot be. The mother was not supposed to be alone with them. That's why they took them away from the mother. So with that being said, they removed those siblings from the home and removed them and put them in the system. So now they have been adopted by the Harts. Now the family, or the Hart tribe as they were known as, is complete. They have their 6 children and everything is everything, okay? Sara still worked in retail. Jen is still at home raising the children. In 2008, they're still in Minnesota. And Hannah goes to school and she's questioned about marks on her body, okay? After being questioned, Hannah let the teacher know that she was whipped with a belt, okay? I mean, being whipped with a belt, it's pretty common, I mean, and I guess for some people it's not, but to be whipped with a belt is pretty common around here. So, of course, after it was reported to authorities, no charges were filed, okay? But what did happen was they pulled the children out of school, for about a year. That's pretty extreme, right? In 2009, same-sex marriage was not legal everywhere. Jen and Sara then went to Connecticut where they actually officially married, okay? Then in 2010, Abigail is at school complaining of owies on her back and stomach. Okay, teachers alerted authorities. Okay, Abigail told them that she was held underwater and punched. Okay, and the reason for this was because they found a penny. Okay, a penny in her possession, and they assumed that she stole the penny. So that is what got her held underwater and punched. And according to people who knew them, they said that Jennifer's punishments were very harsh. Like any little thing that just wasn't right, Jen punished them for it and punished them harshly. Authorities then interviewed the rest of the children, who let them know that they were often spanked, they were often grounded, and also denied food for punishment. All right. They also interviewed Sara and Jen. And for some reason, Jen was like, no, I didn't do that to Abigail. Sara did that to Abigail. Now remember, Sara is the one who they describe as timid, passive, and things like that. So for some reason, she ended up taking the charge for Jen. She ended up taking the charge as being the person who held Abigail underwater and punching her. Therefore, she was sentenced to probation as well as community service for a year. A year later, it was reported that Hannah went to school and told a school nurse that she hadn't eaten all day. And once this was brought to Sara, Sara told the school nurse that, oh, she's just playing the food card again. As if like this is just something she uses when she wants attention or whatever. Oh, she's just playing the food card again. Just give her water. Okay? So after that, again, there's nothing done. There's no charges filed. There's no evidence of abuse. Okay? So now they pull their children out of school again, this time for good. I don't know about you, but that looks like a dope way to go to school. Sunlight, plenty of vitamin D, nature, you feel me, wind blowing, reading a book, and it definitely don't look like school for children who are being abused in any type of way, right? So now they're isolated from the world. Nobody can look at them, observe them, and say, hey, something's going on with those kids. We need to report it. Nobody can see any marks. They can't go to school now and tell anybody that anything is going on. They are now homeschooled and under their parents' supervision all the time. Okay? So after Sara's probationary period in 2013, they moved to Oregon. All right. And when they moved to Oregon, they moved to like a farm or like ranch type house where they raised chickens and goats and stuff like that, because according to them, that's something that the children always wanted. And just as before, Sara worked in retail. Jennifer stayed home with the kids. Okay. She was the one raising the kids. And when they went to Oregon, they actually got involved in a lot of different activities like festivals, music festivals and stuff like that. They actually became pretty well known in the festival community. So it was like everybody loved the Hart tribe. They loved to see them coming because the children were just always smiling and dancing and just had this beautiful energy about them. I mean, the picture was perfect. They were like just the most happiest family ever. You know what I mean? And as they did these activities and stuff, like I said, they had a very strong social media presence. Okay, Jen was very careful about the things that she put on social media, and she showed you the things that they did, the adventures, the meditation, the festivals, the singing. And, check this out. One person told authorities that the kids were made to pose like a happy family. All those pictures that we see of them smiling and happy, apparently that's a forced and a planned thing. They're made to do that. then once the photo is done, they go back to looking lifeless. And to me, I think that's a hell of an observation from somebody who's on the outside. Somebody also said that the kids were like trained robots and that they seemed deathly afraid of Jen. Somebody else said that Jen ran the home and ran the family like a boot camp. Said that the children had to raise their hands to speak. They weren't allowed to tell each other happy birthday. They had to walk in single file lines. And that just love and respect and kindness for these children were largely absent. It was also said that the children looked small and underfed, okay? And apparently there was a time where they had a pizza night as a family. They ordered pizza, and Jen allowed each child to have one very thin slice of pizza, okay? And that, I guess, after everybody ate the pizza, I don't know if they went to sleep or what, but when they woke up the next morning, more of the pizza had been eaten. And so the children were punished and made to like lay in their room for like 5 hours or something like that because they ate more pizza. And it's just like, why can't they have more pizza? These complaints obviously warranted authorities to interview the family again. And once they interviewed the family all across the board, all of the children stated that they were happy, they were grateful with their situation with their moms, Jen and Sara, and that there was no abuse, okay? Jen actually gave the excuse to authorities that the reason people are making these complaints is because outsiders don't understand their lifestyle. In other words, the fact that they were a lesbian couple who have adopted 6 children, 6 black children at that, people don't understand it. So that gives them cause to, make false complaints on the family. So of course, here we go. There's no concrete evidence of abuse or neglect. The case is closed. One of the children, Devontae Hart, in December of 2014, he became nationally recognized because a photo of him at a Black Lives Matter protest in Portland, Oregon went viral because it showed him hugging a white police officer, and he was crying and there was tears running down his face. This was such an emotional picture. Everybody shared it numerous times because it was known as the hug felt around the world. This was the poster photo for unity during the times that we're going through with Mike Brown being killed and all of the black males that were being killed in police brutality. So I'm pretty sure you guys saw this picture. Check it out. And I actually saw this picture. I remember when this picture went viral. It was being posted all over Instagram and hashtags and everything, And it just breaks my heart because it's like just knowing what I know now, It's like he was really crying out, He was known to go to different events with a sign that said free hugs on it. And so that's what prompted this photo, because the police officer gave him a free hug. And it's just, man, just seeing him crying like that, it's like, man, he ain't crying about this protest probably, He going through some shit. You know what I mean? Like some real shit. You know what I mean? It just kills me. There's also some footage of him at a festival, another festival, where he embraced somebody and he cried the same way. Check it out. Hey, hey, y'all, come on now. I mean, he was like that for several minutes. I can only play so much of it to avoid any copyright issues, but he was like that for several minutes. He did not let that man go. that's a different type of emotion. Kids don't just run up to you and hug you and cry like that, you know? Ugh, it just tears me up. And just like that, Devontae was wanted for interviews by TV shows all over the world. But of course, Jen was not having it. Jen was like, no, I want to protect his privacy, because of course she doesn't want him to go get interviewed, right? Because there's no telling what they might find out. So, I mean, I just hate it, because I feel like that was a moment that could have changed his life and his siblings' lives forever. Could have changed it for the better. But Jen had control. Unfortunately, he was not old enough to make his own decisions. Jen was like, no, and she went off the grid, no social media for at least 6 months. So in 2017, during the spring, Jen was back on social media. She took to Facebook to let everybody know that this year slammed us really hard or whatnot. And they've now relocated again to Washington now. Now they are in Washington. Now this particular property that they have is on acres of land. Therefore, it's away from neighbors. There are no neighbors directly next to and across the street and everything like that. They can kind of keep their business to themselves in a sense. The closest neighbors they had were some neighbors by the name of the DeKalbs, okay? And they described the house as, you know, the kids were never outside and the blinds were always drawn, okay? So it was just still and kind of quiet over there. Nothing really much going on. If they did see kids outside, they were doing chores. That's about it. So one night in August of 2017, Hannah jumped out of a 2-story window at the family home at about 1:30 in the morning. She went over to the neighbor's house, to the DeKalb home. When they answered the door, this is what happened.
I answered the door, and then she was standing out there with in a blanket, completely covered in blackberries, because she had gone to that neighbor's house through the blackberries, and then they have a gate that locks that, so she ended up back over on our front doorstep.
Claiming that he really didn't know what to do, because again, I'm pretty sure they were asleep at 1:30 in the morning and startled by this knock on the door, you know, from this child saying, help me. Said that Hannah asked to be taken to Seattle and to please don't make me go back, saying things like they're racist and they abuse us and they beat us and stuff like that. He figured, you know, she's just being a kid. Sometimes kids get mad, they run away from home, you know, they do things. And so shortly after that, with flashlights, you know, they came looking for her, calling her name and everything. They got her and took her back home. The next day, Jennifer came with the rest of the children over to the DeKalb home, made Hannah present a handwritten letter to them stating that she just doesn't know how to handle her anger. I'm not saying it verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing, but she didn't know how to handle her anger and she lied and, you know, things like that. Jen told the neighbors that, you know, sometimes they act out because they're drug babies and, you know, things like that. And, you know, to me, that makes me so sad, because it's just like, you know, don't use that against them like that. You know, they may be drug babies, but they haven't done anything, you know, and you're just flat out lying on them. You know what I mean? So, of course, she, and the neighbor said she sold it well. You know, she sold it. She made it feel real to them. So, you know, they let it be. She went back over to her home. They never saw anything else happen. You know, the wife of the DeKalb home, her name was Dana DeKalb, and the husband's name was Bruce DeKalb. Now, Dana wanted to report what happened. Bruce didn't really want to get involved. You know, they had already had some drama over there. These are new neighbors. We don't want drama with these neighbors. Let's just stay out of it, you know. Now, apparently, Miss Dana DeKalb did speak to her father about Hannah showing up at her house that night and everything that happened following. And so the father, he just couldn't settle with it. So he made a call to authorities. Unfortunately, authorities couldn't do anything about it because he was not physically there when it happened. It had been 2 months. There had been no reports of anything happening. So there was really no reason. Nothing stuck out to the police or to say, we need to go over there and see what's going on. I can just imagine how that must feel to the DeKalbs, to the neighbors, to have to, deal with that and have that on your conscience, just knowing that, these kids might be in danger and there's nothing that I can do. So a couple months later, now Devontae is coming to their homes. And this is what they say happened.
One of the children came over and started asking for food. And it went on for a period of time until we kind of determined that he was probably reaching out. And we determined that we should call the Child Protective Services, and that's what we did.
You said he was asking for a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of food. I mean, it started out very,
tortillas, and it ended up a case of food. Multiple, cured meats, non-perishable food items.
Right.
And was asking that we not tell his mom and to, hide it and put it by the fence so he could get to it, and that they were withholding food from him as punishment.
They also mentioned some things about the children's appearances.
Tell me you were a little surprised when he said he was 15, because he was small.
Well, they were all small. I mean, the one girl who was 12 looked like she was 7. Both of her teeth were missing, front teeth, and we questioned, what's up with the teeth thing, and they said, well, she didn't want them replaced. We thought that was a little weird, but anyway, they were all very small.
So now, after so long of sneaking food to him, putting it in a box and hiding it from his parents, Dana decides to call social services, okay? They try to contact the Harts the exact same day. Now, they saw the Harts pull into their home in their truck, pulled up to the home. They actually went and rang the doorbell, and no one would answer the door. So they left their card and they left. Social services said that they tried to contact the Harts on March 23rd as well as on March 26th, and they got nothing. Okay, the DeKalbs stated that on the 24th they did notice that their truck had left the house. See, Dana just basically became obsessed with it at this point. She said that I was trying to do everything I could. I mean, I would look out the window. There was only so much I could see, but I could see their cars. But I would do other things. I would go check my mailbox often or go work in the yard just so I could look over there and see what was going on. So on 3/24, Sarah texts a coworker saying that she's too sick to come to work. Now, after she sent this text message, she never texted again, never showed back up to work again. And so, of course, according to her coworkers, this is out of her character. She's somebody who was at work. She was a dependable employee, but she never responded to any more text messages from her coworkers or anything like that. So this prompted her coworkers to call the police and ask for a welfare check on her. So about 2 hours later, it is reported by a tourist that there's a truck that is over a cliff, turned upside down. Okay? When authorities go to check out the scene, we find Hannah, Marquise, Jeremiah, Abigail, and Sierra, as well as Miss Sarah and Jennifer Hart, all deceased, either in or outside of the vehicle. Okay? What could have caused this? And where is Devontae? According to the car details or the computer that's inside of the vehicle, it was determined that this was a murder-suicide. Jen intentionally got a few feet away from the cliff and accelerated the vehicle and drove it off the cliff, killing herself and the rest of the children, as well as Sarah. Now, the body of Devontae has never been found. Also, it was reported that Jen was way over the alcohol, recommended limit. Okay, so she was inebriated. Sara and 2 other children had the active ingredient diphenhydramine, which is found in Benadryl, in their system. What's even more chilling is Sara's Google searches before this happened, such as, can 500 milligrams of Benadryl kill a 120-pound woman? Also, how long does it take to die from hypothermia in a drowning car? No kill shelter for dogs. So you're concerned about not killing the dogs, but not the children. Also, is death by drowning relatively painless? Like, what the? I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, the system failed these kids miserably. Failed them miserably. Like, this is the worst, one of the worst cases I've ever heard. Like, it's crazy. They later interviewed the 15-year-old that the first foster child that they had, Lee, the one that they left at the therapist's office. She said she's never eaten out of the trash can. She denied everything that they said about her. She said she never did no such thing. She said that it was even hard for her to believe that this was really happening. She's in her 20s now, but, she said she can't believe it because, the time that she was with them, she had a good time. She went camping. She did things. She was never deprived of food and, but she wasn't the black child either. The rest of them were. And, and I hate to play the race thing, play race card, but it's just like, you adopted 6 black children to abuse them. And it's so messed up because they were young. Should it not have been a red flag that they're so young? Why are they adopting so many children? So you have to think about how far back they started adopting children. I bet I couldn't go right now and adopt 6 children. People that knew them said that they didn't do it for the money, that they loved kids, because it was determined that they were getting at least anywhere between $450 to $550 per child, and also Social Security for some of the children. So they definitely, most of their income definitely came from those children. But I wonder what made them just kill themselves. Did they feel like they were in too deep? Why was Devontae's body never found? Where is he? Did y'all kill him first or what? Even though a judge ruled that he was in the vehicle at the time of the incident and they went ahead and did a death certificate. But was he? Did they kill him first? Maybe take him somewhere else? What did they do? Where is he? This is a crazy story, guys. And Devontae really touched my heart. It touched my heart from all of them, but Devontae, he was crying out, man. He was crying out. They treated these children like circus animals. Made them dance and sing, and it's almost like they did it for their satisfaction. Let me know what you think about this story. Let me know in the comments, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a crazy one. Again, I can't stop saying it. This story really, really breaks my heart. Go ahead, like this video, subscribe, you feel me? I thank you guys for coming. I thank you for being here, because fact of the matter, you could be anywhere in the world, but you right here chopping it up with me, and I'm digging that. Like, subscribe, share, and until next time, I'm out.
Creation, we are so provided for. We are so provided for. We are so provided for. are so provided for. Let's
Turn the world of God, trying to make things better for you. A lover of life in a school for fools trying to find another.
If a winter sky was full of thunder and tearful at the fall of a star.
Yeah, I love that OG in my Swisher. I'ma roll it up, so bring a lighter with you. Got the top roll back when I'm riding with you. Bubble gum, yum, yum, pineapple, berry rum. I love that bubblicious in my Swisher.